Hello, lovely people. Graham Bibby here. It's the 15th of May 2020. Here's a bit of an update for you. We did have a great night in the market last night. It was a bit surprising because Europe was falling apart. And then when US opened, it started to fall apart. And then after I went to bed, the market turned around and had an incredible day because it could be classified as a key day reversal. That means the negative news is out there. So in the US, they announced that, what we all should know anyway, that things will get a lot worse economically, or could get a lot worse before they get better. So the market had two, I could say horrific sell-off days, but not really, because we've had quite a few good up days. Chart in front of me right now is one of the stocks that I like. I'm currently paying for myself and on behalf of you, some in-depth research on IPOs, because this is a classic IPO here. This company here is in the cloud, and it's working mainly with diabetics at the moment. It's teamed up kind of with Dexcom, which is DXCM, which is this one, which you've got. It's been on this great run here. Look, in March it was 175, it's 400 now, that's over 100%. That's in my CFDs portfolio. CFDs is for those clients who don't mind to take more risk. That's what I do with my money. And there's a fee for joining that, or I'm happy to work purely on a split of performance, because I know what I can do on there. It's leverage, so that means, if you want an exposure to, let's say, $50,000 worth of stock, you only have to have 10,000 to do that. So the ups and downs are a bit more, but I'm a bit more active on that. And the idea is, the target is to make over 100% per annum. That is a split of performance if you do it that way. So you get 50%. Anyway, let's go back to, and if you want to do that, let's get on a telephone conversation, because there's two ways you can do it. There's one way that even does better than that. However, go back to this company here. It's working with Dexcom. Dexcom provides vests that read your health statistics. It's really for diabetics, so it knows when the sugar insulin level is spiking. It sends a message to the cloud, and this company has got all this analytical software that sends back a message what to do. And what they're finding is, by using this, it's reducing visits to the doctor by somewhere in the region of 60 to 70%, which has been particularly useful in the coronavirus situation, but is in any event, because it stops people having to keep going to the doctors about things, because it will send back, say, take another shot, do this, do that, and people are self-remedying, if you like. Now, I just want to explain to you, and I am, for those interested, I am going to start a tutorial mentoring side of this business, where I teach you more about charts and I teach you more about individual stocks. So if you're interested in joining that, it's by a monthly subscription. It's something I've toyed with, and I'm going to give it a shot and put 100% into it, obviously. So if you're interested in that, it's a monthly fee, or you can pay 12 months in advance. And every week I'm going to send you a tutorial about how to know when to enter stocks, how to know when to enter them, and I'm also going to mention every week a few stocks and the reasons why they look good and they could rise a lot. Anyway, let's go back to this one. This see the arrow floating around here, and I'll go over here. This is the IPO date, and it launched at a bit of an up and down day, ended towards the bottom of the day. And how do I know that? Well, you might see on your computer, if you put the stock up, just here there's a line to the left. The line's to the left, and if I go like that, it's going to disappear. So if I go all the way over here, this line to the left here tells me where this stock price ended at the close of play in USA. That means the close of the market. So during the day, the stock was as high as that, and during the day, the stock was as low as that. So right now it's closed in this higher half of the day spread, which is more positive. If it ends like this, towards the bottom, that can be more negative. And I will explain that in my training sessions. But what I want to explain now is nearly all great IPOs, from Apple to Google to Amazon to Facebook being a classic, after they've launched and there's been initial hype, this is quite often what happens. So this was 45 and it went all the way down to 15. I think Facebook launched at 50 and went down to below 20. So I don't recommend buying new IPOs. One, because you can't normally get a lot of stock because everyone wants to buy. So you get, if you say I want to buy 50,000 worth of stock, you've got to put up 50, but you'll be lucky if you can get 5,000, but your 50,000 is tied up for a while. And then after the initial excitement, this can happen. However, then it broke out, had a run up. This is a nice little run from 18 to 30, nearly 100%. And then it went sideways for ages, couldn't break out of this level. And the longer you get a sideways move, the greater the movement is when you come out of that range. And I could draw you a couple of ranges here, because you've got to understand that investing is not an exact science. I've done it for 35 years, but I do have it pretty down to pat. So that was kind of a trading range, and it broke to the downside, which is not good. However, if you break to the downside and then you can recover like that, that's more positive. And then we had 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth attempt, there's somebody called W.D. Gann. You can Google him. He was one of the greatest profit-making machines of the early 1900s. He said if you attempt a level 4 times, you normally break through. So here, 1, I guess, 2, 3, and the fourth time it went through. But this stock recovered. So sometimes if you've got negativity and it breaks below a negative point, and then it breaks back up above it, this means there wasn't a follow through and a lot of negative sellers, because if it was, it would have done this. So it broke down below what lots of people should be selling. It went down a bit, and then people were kind of buying and selling, and then it broke back up above it. Then it attempted on the fourth attempt, and away we went. So the breakout was just about 31, and today it's 61. So it's up nearly 100% in 6 weeks. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to join my CFD service, this is the sort of things that are going to be in it. So if you had a portfolio of 100 grand, and let's say we're looking at 10 stocks, and I want to buy this one, I could put up 5,000 and have 50,000 exposure. 50,000 exposure went up. Well, let's say it's 100%. So 50 would have turned into 100, and you only put up 5. So you made 50 on 5. So that's what I'm looking to do. Obviously, they don't all work out like that. In our portfolio, Square looks great. That dropped off a cliff here. Then we had this climatic sell-off day. Then we had this, and then I think I recommended people to buy here, but the pullback here knocked most of us out again, and then we cleared here. And last night's market action looks great, because it was looking negative the day before here, although it ended towards the high, and now we got that lower. So it started off lower last night and then did it up right at the peak, and this moving average is turning up. So Square is a payment system. It's a little white box. I think I've told you before, it's doing great everywhere. It's doing great online. A lot of the payment systems like PayPal, even Visa. If we put Visa up here, I'm not sure what it did last night because I haven't looked yet. There's Visa. It had that reversal as well. They're doing very, very well, I understand. And things like PayPal, PYPL, boom. See, that one even gapped up here. When you get a gap, you've got to be careful, because sometimes the stock will come back to fill that gap in. But you see, that's a lot higher than the sell-off period. So that's probably leading the way, but I get a bit concerned when we've had so much big movement here and then there's been no correction. But even that big movement is only from 100 to 140. And what did I tell you Square had done? Oh, well, it's similar. It's gone from 60 to 78. So it's about 30%. And it's looking good, and I'm looking to that to take the top out. So Graham Bibby saying the market went from, look at this, negative looking. Although the overall trend was still okay. That's why I suggested you to sell some more stocks, but not all. Keep the portfolio where we were. And last night certainly looks a good day. And what should happen is now we see a strong move to the upside. And last night, gold had a good move. This is the junior miners ETF was up 4.7, and some of the other gold stocks like NEM, not new, NEM, N-E-M, can't spell. We've been going sideways, popped out. So that's looking to me as if gold and silver may be on a cyclical new bull market trend, which means, in my view, they could go up exponentially. So that could be 5 to 10 times, and they will be in my CFD service. So if you're watching this, it's a Bibster here saying I'm watching everything very closely. The great thing about the coronavirus for me is I can't move anywhere. I've had to focus, and I love this, and I've done this for 35 years, and I've got some very good research people on my team now that I'm paying independently to do earnings growth, what the institutions are buying, IPOs, new technology, where the growth areas are coming, and I'm applying that to the Insiders Club. So if you're interested in any of that, or you want to look at getting some mentoring, it's not going to be cheap because I've got other things to do, but some people would like to learn, so I'm willing to do that on a weekly basis. I'll start a Facebook group, and we'll try. I'm not a tech savvy expert, but we'll try doing a Zoom meetup or Microsoft Team or something like that. I'd like your suggestions on that, and there will be recordings of it if you miss it. So it's the Bibster saying wherever we are 12 minutes and 41 seconds, too long, man. Anyway, have a great weekend and message me. And right now, if anybody here knows about G Suites emails, we got a problem with Brenda's PEA CEO because I had my bank account hacked, had to stop my ATM card, which stopped all my online payments, and G Suites was due for payment, so it couldn't be paid because it was stopped. I didn't get notification of it. A Filipino web designer organised it all with the redoing of my Graham Bibby website, and he's not responding. So I don't know how to get that back online. So if anybody does, or know anybody switched on in that area, please let me know. Stay safe, people. I love you to bits. Thank you for being in the Insiders Club. There's some great investment opportunities right now in distressed property. Some here in Lombok, some sites that were for Ocean View, which was 75 grand, I can currently get for 50. And also have a brand new opportunity for you, which involves me in trading, where I guarantee, subject to the amount of money, 12 to 15% return per annum, paid quarterly in advance, fully secured against assets. So the Bibster saying, I know you can. If you've got any mindset issues, don't forget, I'm your man. Get rid of your negative states. Get rid of your limiting beliefs. And let's do it. Let's get out of this coronavirus bullshit, and let's get financial freedom. You can come here and trade with me in Lombok. Okay, bye-bye for now.